So if you keep up on the weed news like I do, you probably see a lot of people pushing back on this Jeff Sessions guy still. Um, he's quite the we haven't really heard much from him. You know, people are like, "Whoa, remember that shit you just said like this year about marijuana and people that smoke it and all this other stuff that has to do with crazy ass reefer madness." So what we have is legal weed advocates sneak marijuana into Jeff Sessions' Senate office. Now this is some great shit. It's out of the Washington Times, by the way. They basically snuck this shit right past Capitol Police and went into his office where they met up with this guy Chris Jackson, who is the what do you call it? The communications director for Mr. Sessions, Chris Jackson, regarding medical use of marijuana and their concerns over the continued federal prohibition of pot. Mr. Jackson was offered weed by the activist but declined. The report said, okay, so while marijuana has been mostly decriminalized in the nation's capital since 2015, the activists who smuggled pot into Mr. Sessions' office risk arrest on the account of having brought the substance into a federal building. And I mean, it's still like the feds are like, hey, marijuana is still Schedule 1. So that was kind of brave just because of the Schedule 1 thing. Despite marijuana being legalized for recreational and medical purposes by a growing number of states each year, the U.S. Justice Department still considers the plant to be a Schedule 1 drug with no proven health benefits. President Barack Obama's administration has largely decided against intervening in states that have passed marijuana laws of their own in recent years. Let's just say he has just done nothing. Let's leave it at that. But activists uncertain about his successor's plans have called on Mr. Sessions to promise that he won't change course under the incoming presidential nomination. You better hope he changes course, because his course has always been reefer madness, more prohibition. He called for a strong leader. He was talking about Trump, and he said we need a strong leader, one that doesn't like put marijuana out there. We're right here. We need grown-ups in charge of Washington saying marijuana is not the kind of thing that ought to be legalized. It ought to be minimized. That is a fact, a very real. That is in fact a real danger. And this was just in April when he said that. Thursday's coordinated demonstration marked the second time in as many weeks that the activists have visited Mr. Sessions' office on Capitol Hill in hopes of better understanding how he plans to enforce federal drug laws as Attorney General under Donald Trump. If you're not going to arrest people in your own office who bring marijuana, why would you break down people's doors as a federal policy? And that was the D.C. cannabis campaign organizer Adam Ettinger at the demonstration on Thursday. U.S. News reported. Okay. Mr. Ettinger and other pro-weed advocates previously said they planned to host a series of smoke sessions prior to Mr. Trump taking the oath of office and planned to protest Mr. Sessions' confirmation hearing next month as well as the president-elect's inauguration. Quote, we can't idly sit by and watch all the hard work we've done to legalize cannabis in D.C. be eroded by an out-of-touch prohibitionist. And that was also what they wrote on their website. So, yeah, I just thought I'd throw that quick little story out there. It's kind of fun to see the activism around marijuana never rests. And why should it? You know, as long as they're out there arresting people for this plant, we're going to be out there basically putting our our finger in their chest. We're going to be looking at guys like Jeff Sessions. You know, you're going to look at Donald Trump. While he was running for president, he said a lot of different things. One thing he said about marijuana is that he was going to leave it up to the states on the recreational, and that the medical, he basically wanted to see that legal on all 50 states. And let's face it, if you count CBD states, there's only a couple states left that don't have any marijuana laws at all for compassion or otherwise. And that's all I got on that one. Just thought I'd throw that out there for someone that might not have heard it.